All right. All right, everyone, we're going to introduce InDesign for this next project. And I thought I would start by sharing with you the updates that were just released literally a week ago by Adobe because Adobe Max was last week. So here are the newest updates that I haven't even got to try yet either. We're going to kind of look at them together. Generative Expand is extending your images to fit the frame's dimensions, generate relevant elements to fit empty spaces in your image frame. Text to image. This is more AI, generate images from a simple text description. Export InDesign documents to Adobe Express. Adobe Express is kind of the social media tool that Adobe has. It is free for everybody. It's a part of your Adobe suite, and you can create social media content, one-page websites, that type of thing. It's kind of the competition to Canva that Adobe has put out. Create math expressions with Math ML. Yeah, that is not something I deal with. HTML package, which is for going to creating a website. If you're creating a website in InDesign and you ask we deliver, that's just saying these are things people are looking for. Okay, so that's the updates. We're going to go ahead and create a new file. And our new file is going to be based on our project. Did I hear a question?
Yeah, I was just, is this recording?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let me pull up our project brief. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this in front of you. Remember, this is our project brief from Blackboard, and it's going to give you all the information you need. So we've already done, we've refined, and we have our final type for our manifesto. So we are now moving into step 2 of our process, which is the booklet design. So we're going to be using our mural board to build our mood board. And I'm going to have us sketching our grid layout. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to be creating type studies. We're going to talk about that as well. We worked on our pagination today, breaking up our manifesto into 8 pages, including your cover and back cover. So that's what we just did together as a group. And we're going to begin our digital layout. I'm going to walk us through setting up our digital layout just so we have that understanding, since this is a new program we're starting. Our page size is right here. It is 5. Oh, this is supposed to be 1/2 inch. Goodness. 5 and 1/2 inch by 8 and 1/2 inch in spreads. So let's go ahead and set that up. So here we're going to have our units be inches, and we're going to go, our width is going to be 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I'm going to have my page orientation portrait. You can choose to have it portrait or landscape. Either is fine. But to make this a half sheet of an 8.5 11, it will need to be portrait. You would have to do it in a bigger paper, and there'd be more paper waste if we were actually printing it. Because we're an online class, we're not printing it. So it can be either way, but for printing purposes, if you ever want to print this, it will need to be portrait. We are going to be doing 8 pages plus cover, and a cover is 4 pages. So I'm going to do 12 pages, right? We're going to start on page 1, which is going to be our cover. We are going to have this box here next to it that says facing pages. That's going to be checked. Facing pages means that's going to be spreads. So you want to make sure you check that. Then we're going to think about columns. This is something we can change once we get in there, but for the moment, I'm going to recommend you try at least 3, 4, up to maybe 6 columns for the size of the page. And you can explore other ones once we get in there. You do want to make sure you have a margin. A 1/2 inch margin, I think, is sufficient for this page size. and then I'm going to say, go ahead. So here we are in InDesign. I'm going to go ahead to the pages. So here's our pages. And the way this works is, there we go. I just had a book fell off the shelf, kind of startled me. So here we have our pages here, our pagination. So you have the first page, which is our cover. And you can see that right there. And then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so the way this works, and I'm going to type it on here so you can kind of see how this pagination works and what is what. I'm just going to put a quick little type box here. Make this fairly large. Okay, so we have a cover. This is the inside front cover. And then this is actually page 1. Because I'm having them all go together. Oops. Okay, so cover, inside front cover, page 1. It's actually starting on page 3. So we can actually adjust that start. I think it'll let me change that. I usually print when we're printing these in at school, we basically wait and do our printing. We do our covers separately from our pages so that our pages always start on page 1. But I don't really want to do that because it makes it more complicated when we're doing them digitally. I think we're just going to leave it like this. I'm just trying to think if I can have it start later. I'm going to look up that and see if I can change it that way. We'll look it up. I got it. I'm sure there is. I just can't think of it offhand. So anyway, we're going to talk about how to create our page numbers and such. So you can see this program InDesign is designed for for multiple page designs. It's designed not like Illustrator has artboards. We're using pages, and it's really designed for making booklets, books, magazines, pamphlets, brochures. That's really what InDesign is designed for. It's for lots of type. It's type-based, and it's for multiple pages. You want to go ahead to your workspace, and up at the top, you go to Window, Workspace, and I want you to go down here to Typography. Okay, just like Illustrator, we have different workspaces. We want to be in our typography workspace, and that's going to put all of our type tools right here on the right. And these are all the image. There's my colors, layers, pages. I want to keep my pages open. And then you can see all my type tools are here on the right. So it just makes everything very convenient and easy.
I'm sorry, could you show where you click to get that? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
it is. No worries. It's under Window, Workspaces,
Oh, okay,
Typography.
thank
Yep, that's a good question. You really do want to make sure whenever you enter Illustrator or InDesign or Photoshop, any of the Adobes, the first thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right workspace for the project you're in. So like if we were doing a book, we would want to be in the book or digital publishing or interactive for PDF or whatever it is. You want to be in the right workspace because what that's going to do for you is it's going to give you all your tools really handy that you're going to use the most when you're working on that type of project. Okay. So here we have our design. Now I mentioned to you, like you might be starting this and start thinking, okay, I have 4 columns here. I don't know if I want to work in 4 columns. You can always go here to up to layout and then go into margins and columns and you can change it. So right now I have 4. I'm going to move this to the side so you can see. We could go 6. I can change the size of my gutter. The gutter is the space between columns. Um, you can go more, but this is a small page. Remember, it's only a half sheet. Basically, this is if you took I just had a blank piece of paper. Yeah, I do have one here. You took a basic blank piece of paper and you folded it in half like this. Okay. This is the size of paper we're working on. Okay. It's taking a regular 8.5, 11 page and folding it in half. This is our page size. So it's a half sheet. So what I like to do is make a pagination, like a sketch of my design, a grid sketch using the actual paper. So I would take 8.5, 11 paper, fold it in half, and then you can take your, your good old type ruler here and draw in your margins and your grids and kind of play around with a little bit of what you're thinking you might want to do for your layouts here and jot your ideas down on paper. It's also, I think, a good idea to kind of get a feel for what this size, I mean, we're making something that's going to be meant to be read. And so the idea of having it half size and having it in our hands can also help us think about like how big should the type be? How big should any elements of this be? This is a spread. So a spread is 2 pages. That's a spread. This is a single page. This is 1 page. This is 1 page. Okay. Single page, spread, 1 page, 2 pages equals a spread. That's the size. So you can see it's about the size of my hand. It's not very big. Okay. That being said, when I'm thinking about my grid, you might want to think about an uneven number. You can use, like, this is a 5 column. You could think of a 4 column. I kind of like a 4 column, but I've also liked 5. I mean, I think it depends on what I end up doing with my design. Now, when you remember, when you go thinner, your columns are thinner to use. I'm going to stay with 4 just because of the size. If I wanted to go even centered, I could even go down to 3. I wouldn't go lower than 3 because it's not going to give you enough options for your layout. Okay, so you can pick if you didn't set it up and you didn't like the way you set it up, you can always change it and it's going to change all the way through. Now, the thing that's kind of cool about InDesign is it is designed for multiple pages and it has tools to help us do really cool things for the whole booklet. So for example, let's say I want to make my pages half one color, let's say, probably not black, but let's say I'm going to go half of it one color and half of it another color. And I want that on all my pages. And I want it to be in the exact same spot on all my pages. Well, what I can do is I can go up here to the parent pages. And these are on the parent pages. They're up here if we're on our pages. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to turn it off. We're on our pages window here. And you can see up here above the pagination, this is the pagination. Up here's the parent pages. I can bring my color, and let's say I want all my left pages green and I want all my right pages blue. Notice how everything in my pagination here just became green and blue on my pagination. So if I go here, I can go all the way down every page in my book is going to be those 2 colors. Okay. This is sticking a little bit in. That's why. Okay, there we go. So there it is. And notice how the type that I put on these pages is sitting above the color that they put on because that color is the background. So I can put stuff over it. It's not going to affect. Now, once I'm on these pages in here, this color won't move. It's on the parent page. It's not on this page. So it's never going to move. It's going to stay there. So the thing is, if I want a page that doesn't have this coloring, I have to go up to the none parent page and say, I want 7 to not have that, and I want 6 to not have that. This is going to have something else. So I don't want that color treatment. And you can have as many parent pages as you want. You can be up here and say, I want another set of parents, a B and an A, or I want none. And then let's say on the B, maybe this is, I'm doing something else. Maybe I'm having, this is going to have some other element that's happening on each page. Kind of cool, isn't it? So then you do it once and then it's for everything. What do you think?
Okay, I was trying to follow and I was not able to. I don't know where to go to do it, and it will show on all the pages. I guess I probably
Okay, so
missed
right here on the,
something.
okay, no worries. So if you went and used the workspace typography,
Yep.
over here on the far right, it's going to say pages. Do you see this? Is
Yes.
this block pages? Click on that and this window should
Yep.
open.
Yep.
Yep.
I have that open. Uh-huh.
So go up here to the parent, a parent. Can you see that? A
Yep.
parent. Click on
Yep.
the a parent and now put something on the page, anything like a big block of color. I'm just doing the big blocks of color so you guys can see it. You probably would not be doing huge blocks of color, but I'm doing that more visually so you can see it. Just put a big
Yeah.
block of color on each page. Now you should see it showing up in all your pages.
So I did that, but nothing is happening. So I don't know if I.
Do they have a little A on it? Do your little parent pages, your little pages down here have an A on them? Do you see how mine have a little A on them?
Yeah, I see the A.
Do yours have an A?
Yep, I see the A, and I'm kind of drawing a rectangle
So
on
now
the
go
A
down here and just
parent.
click on it. Click on any one of these. Click on them. Like 2 and 3 or 4 and 5. Click on them. Do you see your rectangle?
Okay, I'm doing it again just in case I missed something.
No worries.
Yeah, no, I am drawing a rectangle, but it's only drawing on one page, not the other one. So I don't know.
Well, you're going to have to do it on each page, right? Because if it's on the left,
Oh, okay.
it'll only be on the left. So that's a good that's why I actually made two different colors. So whatever you do on this page, on the left page, is only going to happen on the left page. So let's say I draw this square and this square, and it's only going to be on the left page. If I want a square on the right page, I have to draw, I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to do a circle for the right page. So I would have to literally make a circle on the right page. It's not going to go on both pages. You have to literally put it on each page, right? So the left pages right now are going to have a square and the right pages are going to have a circle. So when I come down here, you'll see my left pages have a square, my right pages have a circle. Does that work?
No, I'll have to figure it out why.
Okay, well, I'll meet with you after I'm done demoing. We'll look at yours. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, but I'll come back and check it out.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that is kind of how parent pages work. What you put on the parent pages, you can again, it'll tell you in the lower right or the upper right corner if you're on parent A as applied. If I put on parent B and I click on B, it'll show me a B on these pages. So for example, if I go to 2 and 3, I've now put parent B on them. Parent B is on page 2 and 3. And page 1, I don't have anything on. I could have it be a none. And then page, oh, I think I deleted everything. Anyway, the rest are page A, and I accidentally realized I just deleted everything. Let me just put something on it so you can see that they are still functioning. Okay, so these now have big circles. Actually, oops. And here's a perfect example. I'm on page 4 and 5. You see, I just drew these circles. They're not going everywhere because they are on the pages, not on my parent pages. They're just on the child pages. So I'm going to select these two guys. Command C, same commands as Illustrator. Command C to copy, Command X to cut, and Command V to paste. Control if you're on a PC. But now you can see they're on all the A pages because I put them up here on the parent page. 6 and 7 are blank because they have no parent page. I'm going to add actually parent B on these 2 pages. Okay. So that's a big difference that we have in InDesign versus Illustrator. The other things are going to be pretty similar, and I'm just going to quickly go through some of them. We have layers just like Illustrator. So you can add layers and work in layers just like we did in Illustrator. Color swatches are going to work just like Illustrator. Creative Cloud libraries are going to work just like they did in Illustrator. Here's one of my libraries. They're going to work just the same. Links, you don't need to worry about that. Here's your glyphs palette for any typeface you're working on. It just gives it really handy, right available to you. There's our glyphs. Text wrap, we'll get into that in a little bit. Your stroke palette, just like Illustrator. Gradient also works like Illustrator. But let's go down here to our ones we're going to use a lot, which is character. Again, it's going to work very much like Illustrator. Let's talk about the couple ways it's going to work. I'm going to use typefaces. We can always get more typefaces and choose them from our Adobe fonts. So there's a type tool over here with the T. So the big difference with type in InDesign versus Illustrator is you can't just click and start typing. Notice how it doesn't work. You have to click and drag a type box. Okay, so you have to use a type box. And if you want placeholder text, you have to ask it to put it in. It's not going to automatically put it in like it did for us in Illustrator. So we can adjust the size here. We can, of course, adjust our typeface. You want to make your type work within the grid. So you want to pull your boxes out depending on your grid. So that's kind of locking into the different grids. But the big difference is we're going to be jumping into, when we get into this a little further, we're going to talk about how to create character styles and paragraph styles. I'm not going to go through that in this video. We're going to do that next week, but I'm just letting you know that that is basic type is going to be very similar. You do have to create a type box, unlike Illustrator. And then we're going to get into paragraph styles and character styles. And that is going to give us, again, more automation. This whole program is about how do we do something once and then have it happen on all our pages. So it's a really a way to kind of do things more efficiently when you have lots of pages to do, like if we were doing a book or a magazine or a brochure. So everything that we're going to be, a lot of these tools are going to help us do a lot of tasks quickly that would take a lot of time if we were to do each page manually. So we'll get into a lot of that next week. Right now, I just want to be able to have you think about basic layout. So when you get into, we're going to work on this pages place and start kind of You have already your copy for your manifesto, and you're going to want to bring that in. Again, it's always going to have to go in a type box, and we're going to think about like what goes on each page and how do we have our work being playful. We're going to be thinking about the idea of our metaphor. So you have a spread, couple key things you want to avoid. You have a center line here. You want to avoid having your words go right across the center. Why do we want not, why would we not want the letter G here going right across the center line of our booklet? Anyone have any ideas why that's a problem?
Yeah. Gonna fold there.
I didn't hear you. I can hear you, but I
It's
can't hear
gonna
what you're
fold
saying.
there. It's gonna fold there. There's a spine there.
There is a spine there, and it's going to fold, but it's going to do more than that. When we do a booklet, it's fine actually if it was just folding, but what happens when you do a booklet is it's actually going to be two different pages that are printed separately. So this half of the word is going to be printed on this paper, and then the other half of the word is going to be printed on this paper. And when those two pages come together, because they're saddle stitched in into signatures, the one half of the word will be on this paper, and then the other half of the word will be on this paper. And if they're not perfectly aligned, they'll be broken when they, because it's machinery that's going to be printing this. So you want to avoid having anything go through that center line that could come apart. So you really want to have the center gutter to have, if you're going to have a word come across, you want to make sure that it's aligned so it's going between letters, not through a letter. Okay. So those are some things to think about when we're doing a booklet in multi-pages. Next week, I'm going to go over how to make automatic page numbers and how to flow type. But right now, I want you to just start thinking about the arrangement of elements on your page. You are going to be able to add imagery and colors, textures, background elements. But what we want to do is focus right now on the layout and how do we make a layout consistent from one spread to the next. So like you can see when we go through, you're going to have a rhythm that goes from page to page. Think of things that you have read, books you've read, magazines you've read, zines, whatever you've read. Like think about how we pull imagery and elements through. And I want you to think about the spreads of those. I think, remind me, did I share with you some of the examples of last year's manifestos for the class? I know I showed you some from previous. I don't think I've shown you the last year's class, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. I don't remember seeing any.
I don't think I did. Okay. All right. I'm going to pause this here. Did any questions about InDesign right now? Does everyone have it open, taking a look at it? Yes. Sandra, did you have a question? Go ahead.
No, I tried out some things. It's just that.
Oh, okay, good, good, good. What I wanted to basically have you start off with is recognizing that a lot of it should feel very familiar to Illustrator. You've been working in Illustrator. A lot of this should feel very similar. You have the selection tool, the direct selection tool. You have the page tool, which helps you select a page. You have a gap tool, which is new. I have to figure out what that one is. I'm gonna look up that one. We have the type tool, which is very similar. Like I said, the biggest difference is you can't just click and type. You've got to have a type box. You have a pen tool, just like Illustrator. You also have a pencil tool, like Illustrator. You have a frame tool, and these frame tools are to put images inside of. So you have a rectangle, an ellipse, and a polygon. Those frames are to make this image, and you can add an image to it. So you can go to File, Place, and actually I have images in my library. Let me do that. That'll be easier. And so let's go into my library. Yeah, use the banana image. So I can put an image inside a shape. Now you can see my image is huge. So I'm going to use my direct select tool and make it, I don't want to use that, cancel. Make it smaller so I can fit my banana. There we go, in the shape. Okay, so that's what a frame tool is with these shapes, is to put an image inside of. Then you have your shape tool, just like Illustrator, rectangle, ellipse. Probably got a fewer than Illustrator, doesn't have the star and some of those other things, but you get some basics. There's the scale tool, rotate, scale, shear, transform, gradations, another gradation tool, feather. You have an eyedropper tool, the hand, which helps you like move things, the pages around, magnifying. So pretty similar. The colors work the same. Down here, these colors work the same. So a lot of the tools are going to feel very similar to what you had in Illustrator. All right. All right, that's where I'm going to end here on the demo, and then we'll look at some more samples.